Hi 5th and 6th graders, it's nice of you to join me on this 6-week journey to learn all about plants and gardening. My name is Chelsea Martins and I am the Marshall County Program Coordinator. I'm going to be leading you through some lessons and some activities. A little bit about me, I work with Master Gardeners and I work with teaching youth around the community, and I do other ag programming here at the office. So let's get started on our first week. We'll do lesson 1 and lesson 2 before we get a chance to meet on our virtual meetings, but let's get supplies out for week 1. Week 1 is pretty simple. You should have a folder with these supplies. So go ahead and get those out. Something to write with, whether it be a pencil or pen, or maybe even some crayons or some colored pencils that you have at home. So grab those supplies, press pause if you need to, and come back. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is this sheet right here. So I want you to take your writing utensil and I want you to kind of mark some of these material or some of these plants in which you would like to plant if you had your choice to plant any garden. Now these are all vegetables and fruits, but if you want to put flowers in your garden, or maybe a mixture of both, you can go ahead and write on the back some other plants that you would like to plant. And if there's a plant on this list that you don't see but want in your garden, write that down too. So go ahead and take a moment, pause this video, do your brainstorming, and come back when you're ready. Okay, so hopefully you have all of your garden produce either starred, highlighted, marked somehow in which you would like to plant. Maybe you brainstormed everything you want, but maybe you're only going to end up putting a few into your garden. We're going to talk about that. So there are a few things that I do want to go over on this list that will help you maybe decide what you're going to put into our garden planting. So there are beans. There's 3 kinds of beans on this list. It's beans, bush, lima, or pole. So that is 3 different varieties of beans. The bush beans grow as like a bush. The plant is self-standing and it's kind of short, like maybe a foot or so off the ground. Lima beans are about the same, but they're not like your green bean. And then pole beans grow really tall. They grow up some kind of trellis or some kind of a fencing unit, so you'll need a little extra supplies for that if you were to put that in your garden. Some other things on this list that you need to know: onion seeds versus onion sets. Onion seeds are just little seeds you put in the ground, take a little longer to come up, and those you might have to start inside. And then onion sets are already like formed from the seed. They're a little bit bigger and they sprout faster. And then the potatoes, a little farther down, it says Irish or sweet. Sweet potatoes are like your orange sweet potatoes, and then Irish potatoes are all of your other more common potatoes like you make mashed potatoes from. So those are a little bit of things that you need to know. And if you need to edit anything on your list, go ahead and pause that video and then come back when you're ready. So we're going to take the items that we starred or wrote down on the back, whether it be flowers. And if you need to do a little bit of research after I give you this next information, feel free to pause the video and then come back when you're ready. So when it comes to planting out your garden, which we're going to do on this sheet, so make sure you have it sitting beside you and ready to go, we need to think about spacing. And we need to think about when you plant it, when you harvest it, and how big they grow, right? So I starred several things, basically my most favorite fruits and vegetables. And we are going to think about how far apart they need to be spaced, which is the inches between plants and between rows. And then we are going to start putting them on this list over here. So I want you to think about a key system, okay? So how many boxes equal a square foot? So a square foot is 1 foot by 1 foot, which will help you when you are thinking about the inches between plants and the inches between rows. So if you want to write that down on this sheet of paper, write down that you need to figure out how big a square foot, and write this down, will be on this sheet. So a square foot is a 1 by 1 foot area. Okay? So let's say that I am going to take a box in the corner, and I'll show you this one after I draw it. So in this area is 4 by 4. So that's going to be my square foot. So that's going to be my key system. So every 4 by 4 area is going to be 1 square foot in my garden. Okay? And if you want to leave the outer boxes empty, and if you want to go ahead and start drawing out your bed, I'm going to do one large area. So this is going to be like a garden bed that is going to be right in the ground. You can grow produce in raised beds. You can grow produce in a ground bed right into the soil. You can do container gardening where maybe you have some 5-gallon buckets at home. You can make your beds, your garden area, anything like that. So I'm going to finish drawing my map out. I'm going to finish out my square, and then we'll come back. So go ahead and take this moment and pause your video and draw out your garden area, whether it be in one large ground bed or if you've got containers or raised beds. So go ahead and pause this video and do that, and then come back when you're ready. Okay, I hope you have your map already. Yours should only be squares or containers along the map or raised beds on the map. But these are the first row of my plants, and I'm going to explain to you what I did, and then I'm going to let you go ahead and start mapping out your garden with the plants. So I should say that it's really important to do this system because it'll keep you organized for this year and for next year. It'll be very helpful to look next year back at what you did this year. You can write notes on this, that way so you can keep track of what worked well, what didn't work. That way so you know maybe the corn didn't work out this year, I'm not going to plant corn next year. And that'll be really helpful to look back on next year. It'll also keep you organized so you remembered what you planted. It will keep you organized to know what you need to buy for plants and seeds. So the first thing that I put on my map, which are these little X's, was sweet corn. So what you need to do is you need to look at the plants on this vegetable planting guide. And if there are plants that you don't have, that aren't on this list that you wanted to plant, take some time to research the information after I show you how to look at this map, look at this information to put it on your map, whether it be flowers or vegetables. So the first thing I did was sweet corn, so I went down the row and I found the inches between plants and the inches between your rows. So this system said that I needed 8 to 12 inches between each plant and 30 to 36 inches between each row. 30 to 36 inches is quite a bit of space, so I don't want to dedicate too many rows in my garden system to the sweet corn, so I'm only doing one row of corn and putting each seed, which will turn into your plant, 8 to 12 inches apart. And if you remember, your square foot is a 1 by 1 foot area, so I'm doing one plant per square foot. That's pretty easy math. So I got 12 plants in one row. So I made X's in each of the 1 by 1 areas, and I wrote over here that X equals corn. The next plant that I'm going to do is onions, so I put that a 0 equaled onions. And you guys can write right in these boxes that it's corn, or you can make another key system like this, like you did, whatever your preference is. So the next item, like I said, was going to be potatoes. So I'm going to go down the Irish potatoes because those are potatoes that I wanted. And I'm going to look down the row and see that it says it needs 12 inches between each plant and 24 to 36 inches between each row. Now that's pretty comparable to how many inches you needed between each corn row. So I'm gonna stick to that 24 inches away from the corn, also knowing that corn grows very wide because sweet corn grows pretty similar to field corn. So if you've never seen sweet corn grow, it's pretty similar to what you see going down the road, just a little bit shorter. So know that they grow pretty wide, so you need a lot of space in between each row. So I'm gonna go ahead And I am going to probably skip 2 rows and start my potatoes. And I'm going to get those going up the row. And I'm going to work on the rest of my map, putting in some tomatoes and things like that. And I will show you guys my finished product. So go ahead and pause your video. Go ahead and put your plants in your map. Feel free to rewind a little bit and re-listen to that information if you need to. And if you need to do some research of your own about maybe some plants that weren't on this map for vegetables and fruits, or maybe if you wanted flowers, I might stick some marigolds in. I'll show you guys later. So go ahead and start mapping out your map here, and we'll touch base in a little bit. Good luck. All right, 5th and 6th graders, what did you design? I can't wait to see what you designed. If you're a Lenahan student watching this, we will meet in a couple weeks, and then you can show me then. So make sure you keep this handy and show us in our meeting in a couple weeks. So I will explain to you what I did. You guys saw me with my corn plant, and then I told you I was going to do a row of potatoes here. Over here, I ended up putting 2 tomato plants and then a watermelon plant. And I left all of this space for the watermelon to grow, knowing that it's going to vine out and get large, and it will grow a couple watermelon just for this one plant. And then I told you that I was going to maybe add in some marigolds. So that's what we have here. Along the edge, all the colored squares equal a marigold. So I can't wait to see what you designed. Maybe we'll be able to take some of your plans and utilize them for the Lenahan garden bed, because if, as you know, we have a couple beds at Lenahan, so we need to start planning for those. So yeah, I hope you were able to get your garden planning done, and I hope you were able to share this with someone in your household, or maybe a friend or another family member, and keep this handy, and we'll meet back in a couple weeks. So until then, there will be one more lesson next week to go over, and then we will meet for our meeting. So until then, have fun.